8, and I'm reconvening to open session and calling to order the regular Board of Education meeting for Indian Prairie School District 204 on Monday, September 22nd, 2025. Michelle, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Donahue.
Here.
Mr. Rising.
Here.
Mr. Karubas.
Here.
Ms. Fosdick.
Here.
Ms. Deming.
Present.
And Ms. Gintz.
We have a quorum. Mr. Rising, will you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next regular board meeting will be held on Monday, October 6th. We have one board salute today, Ms. Deming.
District 204 students named National Merit Semifinalist. The National Merit Scholarship Corporation announced that 53 District 204 students have been identified as semifinalists in the 71st Annual National Merit Scholarship Program. Patea Valley had 17 students, Neuqua Valley had 26, and Waubonsie Valley had 10 students identified as semifinalists. These academically talented high school seniors have an opportunity to continue in the competition for more than 6,930 National Merit Scholarships worth more than $26 million that will be offered next spring. Merit scholars are selected based on their skills, accomplishments, and potential for success in rigorous college studies. Congratulations to the District 204 semifinalists and good luck as the scholarship competition moves forward.
Let's give a round of applause for this great accomplishment. Okay, next we have a student representative report by Kylie Tran from Neuqua Valley. Hi, Kylie.
Good evening. My name is Kylie Tran, and I am honored to serve as student representative for Neuqua Valley this school year. To kick off the new school year strong, our student council and JKB student leaders helped welcome new students by leading them on a scavenger hunt around Neuqua Valley with prizes and games along the way. This opportunity gave new students a way to connect with new peers and gain familiarity with the building from a student's perspective. Our freshman orientation was also a success. The freshmen had the opportunity to walk their schedule and meet their senior advisors, who will be showing them the Wildcat Way. Having more than 70 student clubs and activities, we also held our annual Frost Fest that gave students, freshmen, and their families a chance to explore opportunities for involvement and engage with our current student leaders. Parents had the opportunity to experience their students' schedule at curriculum night earlier this month. The best people to ask for help on where to go are the students themselves. So our student council helped point parents in the right direction that night. The Wildcat Assembly for freshmen was also held earlier this month to reiterate the importance of self-advocacy, involvement, and engagement at our school. Fall sports are in full spring with student athletes occupied with practice, meets, and games, with our DVC coming up. The annual improv show was another success by our theater program with Mamma Mia to look forward to in the spring. Organized by our senior student council class, Senior Sunrise was also a success with great weather and happy seniors. This past week, we brought Neuqua to Nashville. We started off the week with Neuqua Knows It Can Dance, organized by our dance team and Orchesis. Also, Neuqua Olympics with a Western twist was also hosted this past week. It was a night of fun competition, team camaraderie, and lots of cheering. There was even a sponsored dance intermission. We ended the week off with an annual fall pep rally featuring performances from our Marching Wildcats, dance team, cheer, and Orchesis. The stands were packed at last Friday's football game, and even though our team didn't end up winning, we won in school spirit. To end the week of festivities, we had Meet Me in Nashville themed homecoming dance, which featured a live band to welcome students at the entrance. Finally, the fall is an especially busy time of year for our seniors figuring out what they want to pursue after high school. The guidance counselors have been working hard to alleviate stress, offering access sessions before school for navigating school links, which is a necessary tool for the application process, and accessing college visit sessions, which are being held at NEQA through October. For parents, the guidance counselors have hosted a college application informational session, and tomorrow will be financial aid night. Finally, in the coming weeks, our school will be administering the PSAT NMSQ and offering flex blocks for students not taking the standardized test to get access to extra support from teachers or have an opportunity to make up any missing work they have. On the week of October 27th, NEQA will be hosting Career Week. This week is dedicated for students to explore options they have for after high school and engage in meaningful conversations with professionals ranging from the healthcare to the trades. It's still early in the school year, but we look forward to a great year to come. Thank you, and I hope you have a great rest of your evening. Go Wildcats!
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is a bittersweet task here, but we have a recognition and proclamation by Ms. Fosdick.
I would like to invite Sabna Jane to come join me at the podium, please. I'm going to let you hold this first while I read this one. Okay. All right. Indian Prairie School District 204 Proclamation. Whereas Sabna Jane was elected to her first term on the Indian Prairie School District 204 Board of Education in April 2021 and was re-elected in April 2025. She has served in leadership roles as Secretary and Vice President of the Indian Prairie School District 204 Board of Education and has worked to strengthen public education and cultivate community partnerships, focusing on student mental health, academic excellence, and the successful outcomes of the district's 2024 bond referendum. And whereas Ms. Jane is the Principal Lecturer in Communication and Media Studies and Faculty Director of the Center for the Advancement of Faculty Excellence at North Central College, and whereas Ms. Jane is a second-generation Indian American, devoted wife, and mother of 2 teenage sons, holding a Juris Doctor from DePaul University and a Master of Science in Communication from Illinois State University, and whereas Ms. Jane contributes culturally through the arts, teaching Indian dance at the Naperville Park District and serving as founder and artistic director of a nonprofit dance troupe, and whereas Ms. Jane has clearly expressed her guiding philosophy from the African proverb, "It takes a village to raise a child," and she has dedicated herself to building a strong and thriving future for our village so that all residents may flourish. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Indian Prairie School District 204 Board of Education, Administration, and Community honors Sabna Jane for her outstanding service. We thank her for her willingness to actively participate as an elected official and volunteer leader, which she has been of great value to all stakeholders in the district. We wish her all the best as she transitions from the Board of Education to her new role on the Naperville City Council, carrying forward the legacy of caring and commitment she has shown our school district.
Sapna, I'd like to say a few words before you say something. So over the past 5 years, we've been very fortunate to work with you through election campaigns, and while serving on our board, we've faced challenges and difficult decisions. And you've always been very thoughtful and focused on the well-being of the students and the 204 community. With your active involvement, we've overcome obstacles and created impressive successes. We've shown how 7 people with very different opinions, experiences, and ideas can effectively work together. Thank you for all of your contributions and for being an impactful member of our board. We will miss you, but know you will continue to improve our community as a member of the Naperville City Council. We wish you the very best. Thank you.
actually wrote my words down because I knew I wouldn't get through this if I didn't. Thank you, guys. I'm just going to stick to what I wrote down. Thank you, Dr. Talley, my fellow board members, staff, teachers, students, parents, all community members. Serving District 204 over the past 4.5 years has truly been one of the greatest honors of my life and some of the most meaningful work I have ever been a part of. It's really, truly hard to believe what we've all accomplished together. I still remember my first meeting. After taking the oath, we had to make decisions about bringing students back full-time during COVID, and protocols were changing by the day. And, you know, it just almost feels like yesterday we were on the stage in Mattia High School trying to make these decisions. And since then, we've navigated school boundaries, strategic planning, facility assessments, a referendum, and now our superintendent search. It's kind of breathtaking what we've been able to do together for 4.5 years. And through it all, one thing has been reaffirmed for me more than anything, and that's the importance of public education and the people who make it happen at every level, including this board. Even when we came to the table with different viewpoints, I always felt we were united in the same goal, and that was what would best serve our students. And when that was the focus, and it always is, it is really incredible to see what we can do and what can be accomplished. I've had some extraordinary leadership examples in the last 4.5 years. I often ask myself, what would Dr. Talley do? Because he's set the bar for me in so many ways in terms of what extraordinary leadership looks like. I often will ask myself, what would Lori do? Just incredible leadership that I've had the privilege of seeing up close, along with my dear board members. We joke sometimes and we say, I love you guys to each other because sometimes we really feel that way. And I learned that that's not common in a lot of boards, but I truly do love these guys. My contributions feel so small in compared to what I've received over the past 4.5 years. I'm just deeply, deeply grateful to have served alongside you, such dedicated and effective governing body. Thank you just for letting me be a part of it. District 204 will always hold a special place in my heart. It's the reason my husband and I chose to move here. It remains the best decision we've made. I look forward to all that lies ahead for this district and will continue cheering 204 on as a parent, as a community member, and now as a city council member. You better believe 204 is represented up there. Thank you guys so much. I will miss you.
Should we get a picture? Should we get a picture?
Oh, we gotta do a picture?
Both. No? Can't the next people?
Gather myself. Okay. I next need a motion to approve the suspension and waiver of policy 2:70's provision related to publication of the current board vacancy and acceptance of resumes for the current board vacancy.
I'll make a motion that the Board of Education approve the suspension and waiver of policy 2:70, provisions relating to publication of the current board vacancy and acceptance of resumes for the current board vacancy as presented.
Is there a
Second.
Okay. I'd like to say something, and then I'll ask for discussion. The board has 60 days to fill Ms. Jane's vacancy. Typically, the opening would be posted for applications, interviews held, and a candidate selected. Last time we had an opening, we had over 30 applicants. One of the board's most important responsibilities is selecting and hiring the superintendent. We are currently in the midst of this process with key actions needed by the board in the weeks ahead. Our timeline continues to be to have a new superintendent selected and contracted in December. Additionally, in preparation for upcoming negotiations, we have just started to discuss union contract terms. After careful evaluation and given the immediacy of these critical tasks, I'm asking the board to waive our typical process for filling a vacated board seat. This will allow us to consider the appointment of an experienced former board member, Natasha Grover, to fill the vacancy. Is there any other discussion? Okay, Michelle, will you please take the roll?
Mr. Rising,
Yes.
Mr. Carubus,
Yes.
Ms. Demme,
Aye.
Ms. Donahue,
Aye.
Ms. Fosdick.
Yes.
The motion passes. Next, I need a motion to appoint Natasha Grover to fill the current board vacancy effective immediately until the next regular election in April 2027.
Make a motion. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
You have it in front. Go ahead.
I request that that the board appoint Natasha Grover to fill the vacancy until the next board election, April 2027, as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, Michelle, will you please take the roll?
Ms. Demme,
Aye.
Mr. Rising,
Yes.
Ms. Donahue,
Yes.
Mr. Carubus,
Yes.
and Ms. Fosdick.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Grover, for agreeing to serve again. I know you said you have a couple words that you'd like to say.
Thank you, Board President Donahue. I want to begin by thanking the board for appointing me to fill this vacancy. I also want to congratulate Sapna Jain for her appointment to the City Council. I had the privilege of working alongside her in the school board, and I know she will continue to do wonderful things for our community. It is truly an honor to return to the school board. From 2018 to 2023, I had the privilege of serving with the school board. This experience reminded me, as this moment does now, that at the heart of everything we do is our students. Every decision we make, we must reflect what is best for them. By way of introduction, I am an attorney and a parent and someone deeply invested in District 204. My husband and I have 3 children, 2 who graduated from the district in 2018 and 2020, and 1 who is currently a junior sitting behind me in high school. I am proud that our district has been recognized for its excellence. In 2025, Niche ranked us 10th best school district in Illinois and 29th in the nation. The success is possible because of dedication of our teachers, administrators, including our superintendent, Dr. Talley, and staff who work tirelessly every day to support students in their growth and achievement. I look forward to working with them and with my fellow board members to continue building on the strong foundation and to ensure that we inspire all students to achieve their greatest potential. Finally, I want to acknowledge the current board and how much I value their dedication and commitment to this voluntary role. And I thank my colleagues for placing their trust in me once again. I'm also grateful to my husband, Gotham, and children, Selena, Devin, and Roshni, for their unwavering support. Serving our students and community is both a privilege and a responsibility, and I am committed to giving my very best to this role. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Grover, you have to come in and take the oath of office again. I will say, too, again, thank you very, very much for agreeing to come back to the board. We know your experience and passion will allow you to immediately contribute to the critical activities in front of this board. So welcome back.
If you'll repeat after me, please. I, yes, please.
I, Natasha Grover,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office
of member of the School Board of Indian Prairie School District 204
the office of member of the School Board of Indian Prairie Community Unit School District 204
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and the laws of the State of Illinois to the best of my ability.
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and the laws of the State of Illinois to the best of my ability.
I further swear that
I further swear that
I shall respect taxpayer interests by serving as a faithful protector of the school district assets.
I shall respect taxpayer interests by serving as a faithful protector of school district assets.
I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion by my fellow board members and others who seek a hearing before the board while respecting the privacy of students and employees.
I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion by my fellow board members and others who seek a hearing before the board while respecting the privacy of students and employees.
I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority as an individual and that decisions can be made only by a majority vote at a public board meeting.
I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority as an individual and that decisions can be made only by a majority vote at a public board meeting.
I shall abide by majority decisions of the board while retaining the right to seek changes in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels.
I shall abide by the majority decisions of the board while retaining the right to seek changes in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels.
As part of the Board of Education, I shall accept the responsibility for my role in the equitable and quality education of every student in the school district.
As part of the Board of Education, I shall accept the responsibility for my role in the equitable and quality education of every student in the school district.
I shall foster with the board extensive participation of the community, formulate goals, define outcomes, and set the course for Indian Prairie Community Unit School District 204.
I shall foster with the board extensive participation of the community, formulate goals, define outcomes, and set the course for Indian Prairie Community Unit School District 204.
I shall assist in establishing a structure and an environment designed to ensure all students have the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework.
I shall assist in establishing a structure and an environment designed to ensure all students have the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework.
I shall strive to ensure a continuous assessment of student achievement in all conditions affecting the education of our children in compliance with state law.
I shall strive to ensure a continuous assessment of student achievement in all conditions affecting the education of our children in compliance with state law.
I shall serve as education's key advocate on behalf of students in our community schools to advance the vision for Indian Prairie Community Unit School District 204.
I shall serve as education's key advocate on behalf of students in our community school to advance the vision for Indian Prairie Community Unit School District 204.
And I shall strive to work together with the district superintendent to lead the school district toward fulfilling the vision of the board has created, fostering excellence for every student in the areas of academic skills, knowledge, citizenship, and personal development.
I shall strive to work together with the district superintendent to lead the school district towards fulfilling the vision the board has created, fostering excellence for every student in the areas of academic skills, knowledge, citizenship, and personal development.
Congratulations.
Thank
Here. here. Okay.
There's some chalk to put on her name tag.
We have something.
All right. That was the world's longest oath. I know it's everyone's favorite. Nominations are now in order for the office of Vice President. Do I have a nomination for Vice President?
I will make a motion that the Board of Education approve Allison Fosdick as Vice President of the Board of Education.
Allison Fosdick is nominated. Are there any other nominations for the office of Vice President? Hearing no further nominations, the nominations for office of Vice President are closed. I need a motion that the Board of Education vote on the lone candidate to the position of Vice President.
So moved.
Okay. Michelle, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Rising.
Yes.
Ms. Deming. Ms. Fosdick.
Yes.
Ms. Donahue.
Yes.
Mr. Karuba.
Also yes. I apologize.
Did I add Ms. Grover?
Did you call Ms. Grover?
And Ms. Grover.
Okay, the vote is 6-0 in favor of Ms. Allison Fosdick receiving the majority of votes and is elected Vice President of the Board of Education. Congratulations. Okay. Nominations are now in order for the office of Secretary. I need a
I nominate Katie Jensick as our secretary for the Board of Education.
Okay. Katie Gentz is nominated. Are there any other nominations for the office of Secretary? Hearing no further nominations, the nominations for the office of Secretary are closed. I now need a motion that the Board of Education votes the lone candidate to the position of Secretary.
So moved.
Okay, Katie Gentz being the only candidate nominated for the office of Secretary. I need a second. Did I get a second?
I'll second if there was no second.
Second.
You did the first, so.
Oh, second.
We nominated her.
Oh, sorry. No.
Oh, for the motion. Okay,
Yes, the motion.
Sorry.
Yes. Okay, we have a second. Mr. Karubas,
Yeah,
right, okay.
second. We'll get through it.
Michelle, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Rising.
Yes.
Mr. Karubas.
Yes.
Ms. Grover. Ms. Fosdick.
Yes.
Ms. Deming. And Ms. Donahue.
Aye. The vote is 6-0 in favor of Katie Gentz receiving the majority of votes, and Katie Gentz is elected Secretary of the Board of Education. Yay. Okay, now I need a nomination for the appointment of the Illinois Association of School Board Governing Board Representative.
I'd like to nominate Susan Taylor Deming as the IASB Governing Board Representative.
Okay, Susan Deming is nominated. Are there any other nominations for the appointment of the Illinois Association of School Board Governing Board of Representatives? Hearing no further nominations, the nominations for the appointment of Illinois Association of School Board Governing Board of Representatives is closed. I need a motion that the Board of Education vote the lone candidate to the position of the appointment of Illinois Association of School Board Governing Board Representative.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Susan Deming being the only candidate nominated for the appointment of the Illinois Association of School Board Governing Board of Representatives. Michelle, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Rising.
Yes.
Mr. Karubas.
Yes.
Ms. Fosdick.
Yes.
Ms. Deming. You sure do. Thank you. Ms. Grover.
Yes.
Ms. Donahue.
Yes. The vote is 5-0 in favor of Ms. Susan Deming. By receiving the majority of votes, Susan Deming is appointed to the Illinois Association of School Board Governing Board of Representative for the Board of Education. Okay. We have no public comment tonight. So we will now move to our consent agenda and superintendent report. We will start with the superintendent report. Dr. Talley.
Thank you very much, Ms. Donahue, members of the Board of Education and the Indian Prairie community. Because I had to read the oath, I'm not saying too much tonight. I'm very happy to say that Referral GPS, our partner in our CARES mental health clinic, was recently awarded by the Partnership of Connected Illinois the 2025 Award for Excellence in Telehealth, Leadership for Advancing Telehealth by Innovation, based upon, in part, a recommendation that I had written for them. It is because of Referral GPS we have been so successful in arranging therapy for our children and families. Our CARES program will start in October and will be at Granger, Longwood, Georgetown, Metea, and Neuqua Valley. Parents can contact the social workers at their schools for a referral for these free therapy sessions. I remind all parents and teachers to consider joining your school's PTA. PTAs serve as great partners with schools in creating positive learning opportunities for our children. PTAs support our teachers and support our parents. I'm a member of May Watts. I join each year because that is the school which was in my boundary when I first moved here. Your memberships are very important, so I ask that you join. That's it for me from tonight. Back to you, Ms. Donahue.
Okay. I now need a motion for the approval of consent agenda items D through J.
I move that the board approve consent agenda items D through J as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, Michelle, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Fosdick,
Yes.
Mr. Rising,
Yes.
Ms. Deming, Mr. Karubas,
Yes.
Ms. Donahue,
Yes.
and Ms. Grover.
The motion passes. Now we need an approval of the Memorandum of Understanding between the Illinois Education Association, Local Education Association, and School District.
Sorry. Make a motion that the Board of Education approve the Memorandum of Understanding between IEA, Local Education Association, and the Indian Prairie School District Board of Education as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, Michelle, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Rising,
Yes.
Mr. Karubas,
Yes.
Ms. Fosdick,
Yes.
Ms. Grover, Ms. Donahue,
Yes.
and Ms. Deming.
Aye.
The motion passes. We will now have a presentation by Dr. Trudy Ranson regarding the Indian Prairie Education Foundation update.
Good evening. I only do this twice a year. Eventually, I'll figure out the mic system. Thank you so much for having me here for my semi-annual report to the board. It's always great to come in and be able to tell you about all the wonderful things we've been doing at IPEF. And I'd like to thank the board for its continued partnership with IPEF. It is our pleasure to serve the students and staff of Indian Prairie, and it makes it so much easier to have great partners like you folks. Before I get started, I would like to just say thank you to Miss Jean for her service over these last several years. She has been a wonderful partner and supporter of IPEF, and I really appreciate it. And welcome back, Ms. Grover. We are so delighted to have you again. So tonight, I would like to point out that we have at IPEF been around for a long time. We are 37 years strong in this partnership with IPSD, and we are proud to support this wonderful school district. We have provided more than $5.7 million in funding towards District 204 programming and support since we were founded in 1988. And although we've been around for a long time, the district has changed quite a bit since the 80s. Our mission remains constant. We are here to enrich education and support our students, and that is at the forefront of everything that we do at the foundation. Tonight I'd like to talk about what the foundation has been doing since I last saw all of you in February, what is happening right now as we start a new school year, and then I'd like to conclude with events to watch for coming in the future. One of the first things I'd like to do is give credit to our fantastic IPEF Board of Directors. This is not an endeavor that can happen just with one or two people, and I have right now 16 lovely people who are supporting. There are some familiar faces up there, including Dr. Talley and Ms. Gens, and we are currently looking for a few new board members, so I'm just going to put that out there in public. We have a few openings, and I'd like to welcome our two newest board members, Rania Ganyam, who was just brought on board in September, and Bonnie Zerkes, who came in May. Both of these women are fantastic members of our community, and we're delighted to have them. As part of our policy of fiscal transparency at the foundation, I'm here to give you the financial report for the end of fiscal year 25. Here I have our 7-year income trend, and you can see that although, like so many nonprofits, we did take a dip during COVID. It was a tough time for everyone. That we are trending back towards what I am hoping will be the new normal here in the 24-25 school year, where we exceeded our goal of hitting $400,000 for the year, so that was fantastic. The more money we raise, the more money we can push right back into our programs, and the more students and teachers we can support. So where does that money come from, and where does it go? Our revenue by category, as you can see, in 2024-25 came the majority of it from grants and fundraising. Grants are always kind of a bit of a cross your fingers and hope, right? Because they're not always available, but we try to apply for as many as possible to support our programs. The fundraising category would include things like Team IPEF and our annual Inspire Breakfast. These two things together are our largest revenue source. As for funding by category, you can see that once again our at-risk funding to support low-income and homeless students in our district and their essential needs is once again our largest and fastest growing category, which speaks, I think, to some of the big needs here in our district, followed by money that we just give directly back to schools. To be fair, most of that money is earned by Team IPEF, and so those are fantastic runners from every school who help us raise money, and then half of the money they raise goes right back to their individual schools. We do have around 6,000 low-income and homeless students in that at-risk category that are being supported, and that includes our programs such as Kid Essentials and after-school programming. You'll see that we also have a nice chunk there for student health and wellness, which includes our support of the Mental Health Symposium and also our biennial heart screenings. This is our end of the year fiscal year 25 giving report, and I just wanted to break that down so folks could kind of see really on a case by case where this money is going. We gave last year directly back to the district $288,000 plus, and that is broken down for you here. As you can see, The largest categories for funding were our Rise After School programs that was funded entirely by a grant from the Illinois State Board of Education, and thank you to Dr. Tara Bell for collaborating with me on that grant. And right behind it was Young Hearts for Life cardiac screening program. This last year, we screened over 5,000 students in high school, 100% free. It costs those kids nothing, and we hope to be doing that again in the 2026-27 school year. Here in the new school year, we are promoting quite a few. Hang on, I'm gonna back up just here and give a shout out to this lovely all-girl robotics team who were the winners of our middle school robotics tournament last year. Way to go. Before I get into the programs and enrichment services that we will be supporting this year, these are the largest ones that we will be supporting. Once again, we will be the title sponsor of the Mental Health and Wellness Symposium, as well as robotics clubs for elementary, middle school, and high school, and the Kid Essentials program, which does help our low-income and homeless students meet their essential needs, including things like school supplies and hygiene, food, groceries, snacks at school, anything that they need, even if it's a winter coat, a pair of boots. We are there to meet those needs as much as possible. And then, of course, back to our fine arts roots, we will be sponsoring the annual Fine Arts Festival, and as well as the winter holiday concerts at the 3 high schools, and the Meet the Artist program at Wabansie Valley, and other places where we might be able to get in some guest artists. We're working on that, so stay tuned. But these are the largest programs that we will be funding this year for student enrichment. Teacher and staff support continues to be strong with the foundation. We are right in the middle of teacher innovation grant season. This fall, that portal is open until October the 20th. We have a budget of $10,000 to give out to teachers and staff who apply. And we hope to spread that around a little bit, so get your grant applications in, all of you folks out there who are listening. We supported some pretty amazing grants last year, so I'm looking forward to seeing what our new ideas are. Once again, we are sponsoring the A+ Awards, which kick off this week. Not giving anything away, but stay tuned on social media, you will see them. I always refer to it as the best day of the month because everybody's happy to see us when we show up with checks and balloons and the whole 9 yards. So stay tuned for that. Thank you again to Western Governors University for sponsoring that award this year. And then finally, spring grants made a comeback this last year, and it was met with a lot of approval. Spring grants are some very quick, I think of them as quick grants, right? The application process is simpler, and it is a flat $500. We gave out 6 of them in the spring, and it's kind of nice to fill in those end of the year gaps for teachers because they might not know in September what they need in April. So we want to make sure that we are funding some of those end of the year programs as well. Team IPEF is in full swing right now. So if you see all of those appeals on all of your local networks to help out our team members, please help. I'd like to thank the 235 team members who will be running with us this year. This does once again make us the largest charity team that runs with the Endeavor Health Naperville Half Marathon 10K, 5K. We're just going to keep wearing those yellow shirts and flooding the streets of Naperville. And you can see by the breakdown that we do have a pretty disparate group of staff, students, parents, community members, alumni, including several of the people who are sitting up here this evening. Thank you very much for your support. I think it really does show what we can do when we work together as an entire community and what kind of support we are getting from our community because they believe that These programs that we are funding are very beneficial to our students and their quality education. I would like to give a thank you, a very special thank you, to our two 12-year runners. These folks have run all 12 years with Team IPEF. That would be Mr. Jason Stipp, the principal at Waubonsee Valley, and Mrs. Christine Black, a teacher right downstairs in the Prairie preschool. And the fact that we have support all the way from preschool to high school with the staff should show what a fantastic event this is. It's a great example of the synergy and collaborative partnership between the foundation and the district. So thank you very much to all of those runners. We're looking for the community to keep supporting Team IPEF while we are working on it. Thank you to the Metea Valley Cross Country team, who is once again managing an aid station at the race. Spirit squads, we have signups right now for Spirit squads. We have 4, I think, and I have space for 3 more. So if your school is feeling the spirit and they want to jump on in and cheer on their school's team, we've got a space for you on the race course. And I'm sure there's some mascots who'd like to, you know, slip out of the office and get outside for a little while. That's always a lot of fun for the runners to see, and it really does kind of lift our spirits as we run, or in my case, walk. And then please donate. All of our charity runners must reach their 204 minimum by October the 1st. In order to be a charity runner, it's only a $25 minimum for students, so if you'd like to support a student, hop on there and support a student, that would be great too. 50% of all money raised by our runners goes directly back to the school of their choice. And over the last 11 years, we have raised $1.3 million with Team IPEF. It is our largest fundraiser of the year and does go a long way in supporting the programs that we do here. Finally, coming up, and I know it's going to be here before we know it, mark your calendar for March the 26th. It feels weird to talk about 2026, but it's right there. From 7 to 9 a.m. at White Eagle Golf Club. As all of you here know, we changed our gala to a breakfast, and it was very well received this last year. And Ms. Fosdick, thank you for being a good sport and having your picture included in this slideshow. But with that contagious smile, how could we not? So please do plan on attending. Tickets and tables will go on sale sometime around mid-November. And our theme this year is Imagine with IPEF. So we're going to have a lot of fun with that. Finally, how folks out in the community can make a difference with the foundation and its programs. Obviously, we covered donate to an IPEF member. I'm walking myself for my 8th year this year, so I'm putting my money where my mouth is and my feet. Nominate a teacher or a staff for the A+ award. I can't tell you how grateful the teachers are to see those nominations. Even if they are not an award winner, they do get a copy of their nomination, and that kind of recognition, the idea that they have made a difference in somebody's life, a student, a family, it goes a really long way to boosting morale in our schools. And also, I think it's really important to say thank you for all of the hard work that our staff is doing here in District 204. And then buy an early bird ticket or a whole table to inspire. That would be fantastic. And if you'd like to learn any more about what we do at the foundation, please go to our website at ipef204.org. All right, does anybody have any questions? Oh, shout out to my Welch White Tiger group here for giving me this fantastic picture of their kindness squad.
So I'll open it up to anyone. Have any comments or questions for Trudy?
I just want to speak to the foundation because it's near and dear to my heart. And it's interesting when you sit in one place for a long time, you can see kind of the tree grow and things happen. I recall when I was on the foundation, the at-risk portion started out at $250. And when I left the foundation, it grew to $10,000, and you can see, I think, how it has expanded since then. And I'm sure a lot of it's grants, but I'm thankful that that part of the tree and area has grown. I think that is very impactful. So thanks for that. And then the run, again, I recall when the run was just starting in the city, and we had to decide as the foundation whether we wanted to participate at all. And then we had to make a decision whether it wanted to be 12 seats, 12 runners, 24 runners. And then we risked it by having an unlimited number of runners. And so to see that this has grown to that large of a number over time says kind of that bet paid off, and our community really supports that. So that I love what you've done with it. I love how the foundation has been able to grow that as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
You have something?
I just want to make comments too. First of all, very excited that we are almost back to pre-pandemic giving, that's huge, because that is not happening in other places. So I think that's a kudos to you and your staff and your team, and I know all the hard work that you do to involve our schools and our PTAs and all the other groups that help IPEF as well. And it's just so encouraging because of kind of what Mr. Krubis said, the impact that all those programs have to enrich our students and the impact it has on our students and staff. So I just wanted to make that comment. And as far as the runners go, I mean, I'd love to see more parents and community alumni and students, but kudos to the staff for always showing up. The staff just shows up year after year after year, and it's wonderful to see that. So thanks for all your work.
Thank you.
I'll just echo thanks for everything that you do as leading the efforts in the district. The IPEF has been a very impactful organization, helping many programs that you outlined that are critical to our success. And I also would encourage parents to consider donating. It's an impactful group and important to some very innovative ideas and thoughts our teachers have too. Also, you mentioned that you are looking for board members. So for community members that are looking for a way to be involved, I would highly encourage you to consider applying to be a director on the IPEF board. So thank you for everything that you do, Trudy.
Thank you. Yes, we do have 3 empty seats right now, so we'd love to hear from our community.
And I just wanted to say that that IPEF touches every place, so many different places, and every family has an opportunity to be impacted. What we do with the Young Hearts for Life, every single student, every single family has an opportunity to have that medical opportunity that at no cost. So when we look at everything that we do, every family has an opportunity to be impacted. So thank you to the public for their support, but thank you so much for the initiatives that allow us to touch every single family in the district.
Thank you, Ms. Deming. Yes, we do say from pre-K to graduation, right? Somewhere along the line, IPEF has touched the education of that student in some way, whether it's fine arts, heart screenings, a helping hand if you need it. We are there. We're quietly supporting everybody because we want to see all of our students succeed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now we will have a presentation from Dr. Nader Najjar, Dr. Michael Purcell, and Dr. Carlos Escoija regarding the annual equity board presentation.
Good evening, board, Dr. Talley. I'm honored to share the space today with Dr. Mike Purcell and Principal Carlos Escuetia. And so thank you for giving us time to be up here. And I'll try not to take too long because we can speak on each one of these slides for a long time, but we'll try to give us a highlight. Tonight, we'll look at how the equity plan, which was designed as the through line of our strategic plan, and how it comes to life. We'll start with curriculum and instruction, move to systems and structures, and we'll highlight access and supports that ensure every student's needs are met, and touch on operations like food service that are just an essential. Finally, we'll close with a school highlight from Kalashaw to see how this work shows up at the building level. Our strategic plan mentions equity 27 times. To make those commitments real, we created the equity plan. It operationalizes equity and serves as a through line across every strategic plan measure. This is also grounded in board policy, which guarantees equal opportunities for all students. Tonight, we'll show how the plan comes to life. We'll highlight examples, not everything, to illustrate how equity is embedded in the daily work of the district. There will be a focus on Tier 1. Tier 1 is the experience that every student has first before any other supports. And just as last year we heard from Mattia High School, tonight we'll close with a highlight from Kalashaw Elementary. We'll look at how equity weaves through teaching and learning, systems and structures, and operations. And this shows that equity isn't a separate initiative, but it's embedded in all we do. And this presentation is really a labor of love in collaboration with the directors, the assistant superintendents, and many other folks in the district to really show how equity is not a separate initiative in our district, but woven through everything. We'll start with elementary curriculum and highlight the last year's ELA adoption of the new curriculum and how that curriculum that we chose intentionally centers equity and belonging. Students see themselves and others in the diverse content, and instruction fosters voice, choice, and dialogue. SEL is built in, aligned with CASTLE, which is the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning, and creating classrooms where every student feels safe, respected, and connected. Our K-5 STEM work with SAM Labs ensures that every elementary student has hands-on STEM learning. Students are building collaboration and problem-solving skills from the start. This initiative reflects our commitment to equitable access and connects directly to the portrait of graduate competencies we all want students to develop. At the middle school level, the new Common Lit 360 curriculum amplifies diverse voices and builds consistent expectations while allowing teacher flexibility. The continued enhancement of Achieve Time at the middle school strengthens SEL and belonging, and grade level teams use plan time for both interventions and community building. And now Dr. Mike Purcell will highlight some of the work with the high school curriculum.
Thank you, Dr. Najjar. Thank you, Dr. Najjar. I really appreciate the opportunity to share some of the work that's happening in our high schools, just like what's happening with the elementary and the middle schools, just dig into one example of where this work is happening. Really want to walk through tonight more process. I think when we come to the board, we kind of end up with product. You get to see the end of all the work. And what we want to highlight tonight is a little bit of what happens before it comes to that board presentation, typically in the spring. What you've seen over the last few years are some of these courses that are described up there: Senior Inquiry, History of the World Through Media, Dual Credit English, all new courses that the board supported, and we're so grateful. And we really love these courses because really look at Senior Inquiry as just a prime example of student voice and student choice and really digging into a passion area. Dual Credit English has provided meaningful college credit for hundreds of Indian Prairie students over the last couple of years. In past board presentations, we've come and talked about biology and French, and you may recall that in those presentations we talked about how our culturally responsive instruction guidance really drove some instructional activities and even resource selections. I mentioned in biology, really, the teachers loved that at the beginning of each unit that there was a scientist that represented all of our kids, right? That was at the front of that and really kind of framed that unit. In French, that they loved the resource that they selected because it highlighted French cultures that weren't just France. It talked about Haiti and other areas, right? So really this framework and this process is the foundation of what we're going to talk about with that. We're going to be coming back this year with several more classes. One of them will be English 9. Another's going to be U.S. history. Another's geometry. Big classes, big graduation requirements, classes that all kids take. So I wanted to spend some time talking through what that process looks like. And while it may make it's super intuitive, where you can see where that might fall into an English class or a U.S. history class, we went the other direction. I wanted to show you how that might fit into even something like geometry, right? Which doesn't seem to always kind of say, oh, that's an equity class, right? So really kind of show you the process and how that really does matter, right? So I like visual aids. So we really start with a few things on the table. We have our state standards for learning. I could read all of these for you in geometry, but I'm going to let you kind of peruse those in your own time if you'd like. We start with, for math, there's the math practice standards. This is the portion for a graduate for mathematics. It's all the affective mathematical things that we want students to be able to do K-12, right? So that's a continuum of things that are maybe not about solving for X, right, or finding the area, but really about mathematical thinking. We start with our portion for a graduate. We do it on cardstock so they can take it back and put it on their wall. And we start with our culturally responsive instruction guidance that came from Dr. Najjar and the leadership teams that put this together. And we literally have these on the table. It'll be in a folder like this that each teacher will get as we get started. And this is what we start with. That's our grounding documents. And when we start there, these things become the center of all of our work. And we always come back to those. It's always at the center of what we're talking about. Go to the next slide. Right. So I wanted to highlight an activity that really kind of brings this to life, and we can give you some insight into the process. Again, you see the product at the end. But we started with geometry, and we started with this last spring and really laid two things on the table. One was these mathematical practice standards, which you see highlighted in the gray box. There's a lot more reading. Those are the bullet points. There's a lot more if you want to kind of dig in. The descriptions on those. And then the culture responsive instruction guide, those same bullet points are the same bullet points that are on that, what we would find on the table. And just sat with the geometry teachers that are on that curriculum team and said, hey, just read through both of these. And what do you see? And where are some connections you can make between these two documents? And what are some questions that you might have where you say, maybe these don't really line up for us? And it was really insightful because the first thing one of the teachers said, a veteran teacher who's been doing this a long time, and someone I really respect, said, that's funny because when they first rolled these out at our school, and I'm glad they did, and we have a lot of conversations about them, ironically, our math teachers didn't feel very included in these culture responsive instruction things. And I said, well, perfect. Well, let's talk about that, right? Where does that kind of fit? And this activity really laid out a couple things. If you look up on the screen there, what you would see is some things where they really do connect, right? You look at mathematical modeling. That's the fourth one on there. Ask students to understand what a real-life scenario is and use mathematical education to represent that scenario. That's authenticity, right? That's really looking at, can we take things that are in real life and then use education to model that, right? Constructing viable arguments, number 3, requires students to engage in critical thinking. It's empowering, right? It's also part of Portrait for a Graduate, right? Those are big skills that we want kids to be making. Those are things that are happening in all of our classes. I think this geometry curriculum work that you'll see a lot more detail about come spring, we're really excited about. Just really, there's a place for this in everything that we do. Will we hit every one of those bullet points on the right side of the screen every day in every class? No. What we want to do is to make sure we're mindful of those, and there's some places where it's about the culture of the classroom. Sometimes it's about the instruction that we're doing, and sometimes it's about how do we structure it and what are the resources that we select. And we just wanted to dig into one of very, very many case studies across pre-K and beyond. they gave an example of what this work was. So we're really excited about what's happening in geometry, and was happy to be able to share that story with you.
Thank you, Dr. Purcell. It allows us to pull the curtain back a little bit and see really how the equity lens plays a role in everything in our district. I would like to highlight our CTE programs and how they create real pathways for future success, how courses use authentic team-based challenges and students earn endorsements and certificates for work and experience for internships. This expands access for all students, including special populations, and ensures career readiness. Highlight the wonderful work being done by the Grading Steering Committee and its vision to align grading with our portrait of a graduate work. Measuring learning through a lens of equity, growth, and achievement in SEL, not just compliance or points. Their work emphasizes mastery and consistency. Some pilots are underway that you've heard of, but the focus is the broader vision and how it supports fairness and clarity for students across our system. Our work around our integrated multi-tiered systems and supports, really centering on Tier 1 recently, and instruction that supports every student. The focus is on making sure that core experiences are strong, consistent, and equitable across the district while still being responsive to individual student needs. This work directly connects to our Portrait of a Graduate Learning framework and brings together academics, behavior, SEL, and equity under the same umbrella. Equity is part of the onboarding from day one in 204. Induction week for new educators introduces district values. New educators complete equity sessions, and mentoring includes both building mentors and virtual coaches. New educator connections groups help staff build belonging across the district. Our ambassador roles, equity, innovation, and SEL, extend our equity plan into the schools. Teacher leaders bridge district vision and daily practice, supporting colleagues and embedding equity, innovation, and SEL into the Tier 1 instruction. This makes the through line concrete. Our multilingual learners team leads with an asset-based approach, seeing language and culture as strengths. They ensure rigorous instruction for newcomers and host events like the Financial Literacy and Resource Fair to connect families with services and supports. That's equity in action. Of course, our celebrated Mental Health Symposium, which convenes families, staff, and partners to learn together and reduce stigma. This work highlights how SEL and mental health are embedded into our equity plan, ensuring wellness is a part of every student's educational experience. Our AI work is guided by the district's AI belief statement and the Portrait of a Graduate. Staff training tackles bias in AI, students engage in ethics discussion, and our partnership with Digital Promise helps us advance equitable access to technology and innovation. We ensure all digital resources are accessible through translations, adaptive tools, and universal design. This is about removing barriers so every student can access learning equitably, whether through curriculum, technology, or our communication with families. And finally, food service, I thought was exciting. This slide excited me the most. Our food service team makes equity practical and daily. They gather student feedback to shape menus, always provide varied options, meatless, vegetarian, meat. They keep meals affordable. They monitor sales to be sure students get the meals they want and engage in legislative networks to ensure school food policies remain equitable and supportive. Were your school lunches like that? No, mine weren't. I do remember we didn't even have cheese pizza. I would get the pizza and I would scrape off the cheese and the sausage because I don't eat sausage, and I was just eating the bread. So I didn't used to eat sausage, but I know exactly what it tastes like because I realized the bread, you just can't remove that flavor. So it just goes, I mean, because typically we like to compare to our own experiences, but I mean, when you see some of the photos up there, which are all real photos of the food service that we have within our schools, it's really exciting. And now, the part that we've all been waiting for, our school highlight with Carlos Esguetia, and he'll talk about the work that they do in Collishaw Elementary School.
All right. It's my pleasure to join you this evening and to talk about the exciting work that's happening in our district and at Collishaw Elementary School. I'm serving in 6th year as the principal there. Any commitment to equity starts with leadership, and we're so proud to be part of a district that has put equity front and center with a profound equity statement giving direction and priority to to educators and to school administrators. So to inspire all students to achieve their greatest potential, we must lead and engage in a collective commitment to equity. It's a non-negotiable. It's something we must do. We owe it to our school community. At College Shore, our mission statement does have equity added to it. Front and center, our mission is to provide a safe and positive and equitable learning environment in order to prepare all students to be lifelong learners. And practically that comes out in commitments that we make to our community, which is to foster educational equity for all students by actively identifying and removing barriers, creating a culture where all feel safe, welcomed, and respected, ensuring that all policies, practices, and procedures support every student, and build a community where families are valued as partners. That is all central to our equity mission. Really big on strategic alignment, and so we want to align all the work that we do to our strategic plan as a district, focusing on our priorities for student development, investing in our staff to implement equitable practices, and then engaging with our community through authentic partnerships that really bring all stakeholders together. This image, and some of my slides have a few images in there that are intended to pop the heartbeat of our school. This comes from a children's book titled All Are Welcome Here. We start every school year with a read aloud. This is the first book we've repeated. We read it 3 years ago and read it again this year, and this is, I would like to say, the heartbeat and a mantra for our school. And that is, we're part of a community. Our strength is in our diversity. We're a shelter from adversity, and all are welcome here. So some strategies in action as it relates to our focus on student development. The first one I'll speak to briefly is culturally responsive teaching practices. So we seek to have an environment that affirms multiculturalism and various identities in literature through our classroom libraries and our LMC. We have school-wide read aloud and experiential learning focused on monthly themes. This month we are focused on Hispanic heritage. Every month we rotate different cultures and identities we want to include that are representative of our community. And as Dr. Purcell already spoke to, the culturally responsive instructional framework helps us to identify how we make learning experiences authentic, inclusive, and empowering. We recognize having such a diverse school, many newcomers, students are learning English, students on all ranges of abilities. It's critically important to deliver an equitable education that we have a vision for differentiated learning support. Not all students learn the same, not all students are learning at the same level, but all students deserve an opportunity to be successful. And so as educators, it is our mission to ensure student success through differentiation. So we have a robust data-informed MTSS program that focuses on goal setting and instructional priorities. Today we met with our 4th grade teachers and we began to set priorities for students who need additional supports. Small group instruction based on students' individual needs and a strategic and coordinated win block is what helps us ensure that every student is receiving what they need for their next growth and progression in their learning. In addition to that, we have a high investment in social emotional learning. So we have daily morning meetings in all of our classrooms. We use classroom circles as a restorative practice to build community. We've trained our staff on trauma-informed practices. And in addition, the programs that we're implementing on a consistent basis to advance social emotional learning would be our PBIS program, implementing CHAMP school-wide, the second step SEL curriculum, and our Quality Traits of the Month celebrations. We can only go as far as we can with our students as we lead our staff to. And so our staff are excellent, phenomenal, extremely committed to equity, extremely committed to the College Shaw community. And so we owe it to them to provide them the best training possible. And so we've established and organized our school around professional learning communities. So we have weekly grade level team meetings that are focused on equitable practices and curriculum alignment. We have established school improvement committees where every licensed staff member is contributing to the work of a committee that is setting agendas for professional learning in order to move the school forward. And we've started to implement more innovative job-embedded professional learning opportunities, such as instructional rounds, demonstration classrooms, things that will really bring theory to life and help teachers to implement new practices. We focus on growing our staff in a variety of ways. We have mentorship programs that we partner with the district for our new educators. We have leadership development pathways for our staff, as well as job-embedded professional learning opportunities that will build equitable practice that I'm happy to speak to if anybody wants to know more. In addition to that, we want to focus in on implicit bias training for all staff, restorative practices in training and implementation, as well as trauma-informed care. This helps us to focus internally on how we perceive the world. This helps us to learn from best practices and maybe a different or a new way of doing things where things haven't worked as well for all students, as well as helping teachers understand how trauma impacts learning and the daily experience, and how can we accommodate learning environments in order to meet the needs of all of our students. This adorable koala that you see in the corner is our newly adopted community agreements. This is intended to be a code of values and ethics that as a staff we embody and that we unite around. And the values center on compassion, transparency, unity, and open-mindedness and joy. These are the things that we want to characterize the culture and climate of our school. And so we embody that in our community agreements. And we went through a whole year process in developing this, which was phenomenal, and we're in our first year of implementation. But we can't have an equitable school environment without strong engagement with the community, and so authentic family partnerships is also a focus that we have at Collishaw Elementary School. So we have a culture affirming school. We celebrate our multicultural community. One of the highlights every year is our Culture Night that is organized by our PTA. It brings in excess of 500 or so community members in, and we celebrate a lot of the various cultures and backgrounds of our families and of our children. And it's coming up in November if anybody would like to attend the Collishaw Culture Night. It's a phenomenal partnership we have with the PTA. We do have staff who speak multiple languages, myself included. It's very comforting for some families who are new to our country, who are seeking support from the school system. They're here because they want what's best for their kids. And when we're able to communicate with them and understand their culture, it's very comforting for them. And so we have lots of staff who can help support for family conferences. And we also get support from our multilingual department to really help bridge any communication gaps. We've taken an intentional focus on positive communication home as well, because we recognize that many times, not always, but often, when we're reaching out to the home, it's to discuss a challenge or a problem, and that can grow weary. I mean, many of us are parents as well, and we know how hard of a job that is. And so we want to really have an intentional focus on building those positive communication channels and build really the relational capital that we need when we do have to talk about some of the challenges. We have lots of opportunities for parents to be engaged in the school, so school events, Culture Night being an example of one. We have many of those, and we have open door policies for us to be able to have parent partnerships. They know that they can reach out to myself, they can reach out to my staff, should they need any support or need any help or have any concern that they'd like us to be aware of and problem solve with them. Lastly, we have leveraging the assets within our community. So family skills and expertise are integrated into classroom learning. We do this through classroom parties. These pictures here show our Watchdog program, which was relaunched last year It's a phenomenal program. Every Wednesday, we have 3 watchdogs that we've recruited to come volunteer time at school. They help us be an extra set of eyes, an extra set of hands, and these are caregivers of students in our community. It is amazing to see the insight that the volunteers receive when they see what the operations go, because they spend the whole day with us. It's also amazing to see how their kids' faces light up when they see their caregivers in the school, and not only them, but then all of the children really tremendously benefit from the Watchdogs program. We just had our Watchdogs party last week, and we had over 100 participants, including the caregivers as well as the students. And this Wednesday will be our first Watchdog Wednesday, so wish us luck that it will go well. So we've had our commitment steady and strong in our equity journey, and we see that academic growth is happening, achievement gaps are narrowing, we have high expectations for all, and students are rising to the occasion. If you look at culture and climate data on Collishaw Elementary School, you'll see there's an improved school-wide culture and climate. Teacher satisfaction scores are on the rise, and family engagement is busting at the seams with the highest participation rate in years. We have a new board, new PTA board that just started this year, and they've already hit the ground running, and they're truly integrated as part of our community, and all of our staff support our board. So our promise is to continue to be a model for equity in action, ensuring that every student, regardless of background, has the opportunity to achieve their greatest potential. And I thank you for letting me present and for supporting the equity work in our district.
Okay, so we'll go through and see if people have comments or questions. We'll start with Mr. Rising.
Okay, slide 8, please. First of all, Dr. Purcell, thanks for that wonderful explanation of the way we look at curriculum at the high school level and frankly at the elementary middle school level too. But I thought this was great because, and really it shows more detail on the next slide, but really, first and foremost, we're looking to meet those state and national standards, obviously, right? And we understand that we have high expectations in our district, and that goes without saying. But what I really liked about this is it was an and not an or, right? So we're looking for the best curriculum to meet state and national standards, and we're also looking at how that aligns with the portrait of the graduate and all the other culturally responsive instructional things that we're looking for. What's the best fit for us? So I really appreciate you going through that because, again, yes, it is academics first, obviously, but it's all these other things. It can be all those other things as well. It doesn't have to be an or, it can be an and. And then I just wanted to give kudos to Carlos and his Collishaw building. Slide 24, and again, kind of a theme here. With priority 1, again, academics first, but we're foolish if we think that every kid is coming in the building with the same mindset and where they just came from home or what they're experiencing. And I won't call out a certain kid, I'll call out myself. No one could have known when I was in elementary school that I was the kid whose parent was on public assistance, who meals were, scarce, and whose parents were going through a divorce. Like, I was bringing that trauma that I had into the building. And what I love about this, especially with the social emotional piece, is that our staff, and we're helping our staff, try to meet the kids where they are, and understanding, and not intruding into their personal lives, but at least understanding if they're having a bad day or if something's bothering them, and to back off, or when to lean in, right? So again, academics first, but understanding where our students are at and the day that they're facing to make sure that they're best aligned for the best learning environment for themselves for that day. Same thing with slide 25, invest in staff. Again, academics first, but how can we help our teachers be the best teacher for their students? And then slide 26, again, academics first, but how can we ensure that our community and especially our students are seen, valued, and welcomed into that building? So kudos to you, to all the thoughtful, proactive ways of you making this happen at Collishaw, and the results speak for themselves, right? So, we're seeing higher academics, and we're seeing students valued, and, it's wonderful to see. So thank you for all your work you've done. That's all I have. Thanks.
Ms. Bosdick.
Thank you for your work on this. As often as I saw equity through this, I saw belonging and community. It underscores every part of it. And even down to the Collishaw Community Agreement, which I noted as being different from some in my experience, which is maybe like what the school values are. You've encompassed the community in that as well. And I think that must be one of the reasons for this incredible growing community that you have. People feel like they belong. So as Mr. Rising said, kudos to you for that. Keep up the good work. To all of you, thank you.
Mr. Karubas.
Three things I'd like to expand on a little bit, but I love how the presentation took us from a plan, a policy, a statement, through administration work, through, all the way down to the elementary school. So sometimes we sit behind this desk and we, make a policy, but to see how it actually plays out in an elementary school is one of the joys of being a board member. So I love that about the presentation. On page 24, I'd like you to just talk briefly about the small group instruction based on individual needs, because I think that is an important part where you're you still got to teach a class, but you also got to teach a student. So can you speak on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Part of that way that's met with fidelity is through that third bullet point, the strategic and coordinated implementation of what I need. So this is a block of time that is scheduled 1 hour each day. It's a separate hour per grade level, and this is where I have my classroom teachers and my student support teams working coordinated, sharing kids. And so it allows for us to provide differentiated, targeted interventions and supports on all ends of the spectrum, right? From those who need English language support, to students with IEPs, to students who may be reading and math intervention, to students who are in Project Arrow, and everyone in between, all right? And so by having this time dedicated, what we're doing is we're securing students' access to the core curriculum. Because as has already been noted from the board, academics is our primary mission. And when we begin to break students apart during core instructional time, we are unable to intervene then our way out of a lack of Tier 1 instruction. And so by having this time secured, we have a team that we deploy at that block of time per grade level that will work with smaller groups of students and will be able to provide what they need, whether that's a research-based intervention, whether that's a small group with their classroom teacher, whether that's going with Mr. Cook to the Project Arrow class, whether it's going with a multilingual specialist, whether it's going with a special ed teacher. We've got the whole team working, serving the students. So that's part and parcel and critical to successful differentiation. Now beyond that, during Tier 1 instruction, we still have students coming to our school who maybe are coming from another country, right? They're coming from the Middle East, they're coming from Ukraine, they're coming from a Latin American country. They don't have access to the same opportunities, can't access curriculum the same way. And so in order to do that, our teachers need to provide accommodations and modifications for those variances and differences during Tier 1 instruction. So differentiation really has to be something that's systematically structured so that we can provide those best instructional interventions and track progress and growth at a student's level, but then also has to be embedded into the Tier 1 instructional program in order for students to be able to have access. And there's a variety of ways we can do that. We could differentiate process, we could differentiate product. We use the standards to guide the goals, the big learning goals, but then we can make tweaks and adjustments to accommodate for students' needs so that, again, everybody's feeling part of that learning community. So that's how we get at that.
That's fabulous. That definitely hits home on the point. Thanks. The other point I'd like to make is it's something that we talk about a lot is student voice. And we talked about how many times the equity is used in the strategic plan. Well, student voice is used 4 times in this presentation. So I just want to point them out real briefly. Page 6, we talk about diverse voices. We talk about fostering student voices. So that's self-explanatory, but that's nice to hit that point. On page 7, we talk about student voice and make sure that that's part of the curriculum. So, it's not just the top-down stuff. We're seeing what the students want. On page 19, even put it in bold this time. But part of our labs is trying to foster the students' voices. So we're putting that throughout. And then on page 24, amplifying the student voices here. So I'm highlighting the 4 times you used it in the presentation. It's something that the board prioritizes. Can you speak on that briefly?
Yeah, Dr. Purcell, would you like to speak?
Yeah, thank you for noticing. I think that's something that we embed everywhere. I think it really is part of it. And sometimes it's places where it's really evident and explicit, like in the senior inquiry class we just talked about, right? And other places it's giving kids an opportunity just to literally use their voice and to interact and to find those times instructionally where they're talking and being able to kind of express how they feel about a topic and using instructional strategies like debate, right, and Socratic seminars and things like that to back up and use those things. So, and I think, it's places where maybe you don't even think about student voice being a big piece. I loved how we talked about food service. We're doing surveys and what do you really want and using the sales data because really that's really what they want is what they're buying, right? So, I think just finding those opportunities, big and small, to use student voice to make big decisions is always our best path.
Yeah, and an integral part of our culturally responsive instructional framework is empowering students, and part of that is student voice. And we could probably do a whole presentation on that, but partnering, that's a 204 creation, our culturally responsive instructional framework. It wasn't just something we took from a book or borrowed from someone. We looked at it, we came together as a district, multiple stakeholders, and really thought of what does culturally responsive instruction look like in our district, because our district is our district, and we weren't just going to adopt something generic. And so that empowering piece is huge. How does a student feel empowered within the classroom, within the school system? We didn't want to create experiences where the submissive student just listens to the teacher, but how do they feel like they get to take the wheel?
Yeah, student voice and agency is critical to equity work. That's the way that you inspire students to achieve their greatest potential. Our greatest potential is being a change agent and leaving the world a little bit better than we found it. And so the way we do that is by amplifying our students' stories, letting them tell their stories, and letting them hear stories that resonate with their experience. If we're not intentional in that, then it's not going to happen, and then students are invisible and voiceless. A quick little funny anecdote. Last week, we had to cancel soccer for 3rd grade, and that's a big controversy in our school because soccer is wildly popular. So I was helping out the lunch and recess staff that day because they were short-staffed, as sometimes we are. So I was in the lunchroom, and I got a call on my cell phone from my recess supervisor, and he said, "I don't know what to do, but the students are protesting soccer." And he sent me a video of a little protest. So I looked at this video, and one, I was proud of my students for identifying a cause. These were 3rd graders, for identifying something they were passionate about and letting their voices heard in a peaceful way. Now, I was a little bit misguided. I had to explain to them why they weren't playing soccer, and it was really a safety issue, but I think it illustrates the point. You know, you give students a voice, you give students a platform, and that opens up dialogue, opens up education. And so voice and agency is critically important to equity work.
Thank you.
Ms. Grover, do you have any questions? I know you didn't get to see any of this ahead of time.
No, I do have one question, though. I appreciate the work you've been doing and how you've shown us how you're using equity and implementing it into the curriculum. I do have a question on the authentic career and technical education. It says real-world challenges and students earn endorsement certifications. Can you expand on that? I'm not familiar. Is that the world of work, or is that COD you're talking about?
Yes, and. So it is work that our students may do at Technical Center of DuPage, TCD, would fall under there, really. Brian Giovannini and I and others have really worked on taking the course book and being able to map students towards pathways. If you have an interest area, you're doing your career interest surveys, those kinds of things, you have an area that you're interested in, let us shine a light on the course book to say, here's some classes you'd probably consider taking. And some of those result in endorsements that are state kind of supported. We have a couple of those that we are doing right now, which is education and construction, looking to bring a few more on. They have some real specific characteristics like team-based challenges and some time with internship time, things like that. So we're building some more of those out. And we had a dozen or more graduates last year that had that certificate actually that went on their diploma.
Oh, wow, great, thank you.
Ms. Dumming.
I knew there was a reason that we had Ms. Grover come back. She just had I hadn't thought of a question that I want to ask and follow up on. It just made me think of, Dr. Purcell, do we have, since we have part of our students who are in DuPage and are all of our students that want to do technical things, can they do COD, or do we do COD and Waubonsie? I just wasn't sure.
Great question. So since we are sitting in DuPage County right now today, and the seat of 204 is in DuPage County, we participate in all DuPage County things for all of our schools.
Okay.
Otherwise, too many meetings, right?
I just wasn't sure if they allowed all of our students to do great.
So now, after students graduate, students that live in Will County would be availed through their tax dollars to go do Will County things, right? So that they wouldn't necessarily matriculate to COD, but if they're doing dual credit things through us, it's all through College of Engage.
Perfect, thank you. I just hadn't thought of that. Just a couple of things that I wanted to share. I love the feedback that you began to touch on the geometry example. I will really look forward as you come back and share with us the curriculum in the spring, just getting a little bit more on that particular one that really caught my eye earlier. I mentioned that I would really enjoy seeing a little bit more of an explicit example of what that looks like in the classroom, just for my edification and maybe some others to understand exactly what that looks like. But I'll look forward to that when you come back in the spring. And then I love the fact that we are really looking at a holistic view for our students. And the conversation and the inclusion, this is not academic and then we're adding equity. It is the embedding in the holistic, looking at the entire part of what our students need for success, and to feel good about themselves. One of the things that you, on slide 25, when you shared the Kalishaw, you called it the Kalishaw.
The community agreements.
Yes, and joy is there. That's not, I mean, that's not something that we readily think about. Joy is so important for our students. It's important for them individually, but the classroom and the environment, to have that many families come in to participate. That says that they, not only do they feel the academic value, but they want to be there. They want to interact with the administration, with your staff there, with the other families. That is so important, and our students, they resonate with that. That really helps them so much enter the classroom ready and want to learn. So that really struck me because I felt like joy was really so important. Slide 17 also just kind of stuck with me. I was listening to Board Member Karubas and talk about every place where students were talked about, and you talked about it, students also on 17 with just AI and making sure that our student voice and the inclusion of them as far as that discussion is important. And so AI, just because it's such a at the forefront of so many people, and especially from an educational realm, making sure that we hear that student voice for them to understand what are their responsibilities, but how can they see AI used in their growth, and probably give the education side some ideas on how it can really be brought and used proactively and positively. I thought that was really important. And I think that is, and then I guess finally the last thing that I wanted to say is just the communication in Kalishaw. We've seen how important, one of the lasting things that I will really appreciate, I think so many of us will really appreciate with Dr. Talley's tenure, has been our ability and the desire to really get out, to listen to the community. We saw how important that is with the passing of our referendum. I love that you've taken what we have been so intentional about from a macro level and really including that at a micro level within the school. And again, that just points to what I was mentioning earlier, as you've indicated how important that your families feel with inclusion within your school. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. And there is absolute alignment between the board priorities and mine as an educator, which makes it easy. And I do serve at the pleasure of the board and our superintendent and Laura Rosenblum and Dr. Najjar. And it's a joy to serve this community.
Well, thank you. Lots of really excellent comments. Oftentimes people look at equity and think it's and several of them brought this up, or like I can teach math or I can do equity. And it's like, no, I think you did a great job of showing how it's embedded in everything. It is a foundational principle for our student success. And I really appreciate that. I appreciated the comments about making, the comments about you're a part of a community and how making coursework relatable to students, but also looking at individuals, exactly what does the student need. Like no one would question if a student had poor vision, getting them glasses so that they can read the board or whatever. And to me, that's what this is all about. It's like finding out what the student needs, whether it's a support system or a different way of approaching a math problem, or making the math problem relatable to them, like in their lives, because oftentimes people tune stuff out. I'm like, I don't know what that is and I'll never use it, or why would I need to know? And it's like, that's what came through in your presentation. So it's like I truly appreciate all of the examples too. I love that koala that Ms. Deming pointed out. I just truly love that. And I didn't even notice the joy, so thank you for bringing up that comment, because I am a true believer of that. And you know, Carlos, I was assigned to your school for the previous couple of years, and I got the opportunity to attend a number of events. And I will say that I did experience excitement, joy, and lots of community participation. So really kudos to you and the work that you're doing over there at Kalashau. And I miss you. And if I was a teacher, I'd want to be in your school. So thank you to all of you for the work that you do. And it truly is a foundation of the success of our district. And so keep at it. So thank you. Okay, and now I have any legislative advocacy and Board of Education updates. Do you have anything?
I just wanted to share that I attended the first full LEND meeting of the year with Dr. Talley and Matt Shipley this past Friday, and it was in person, hosted by District 88. And it was really interesting. It was kind of an overview of LEND and what the committees are working on, and then we also had a breakout opportunity in a larger group to work with our legislators. So we had Representative Yang Rohr and Senator Ellman just to have an open conversation about the things that are on our minds and the things that they're currently working on. And I'm sure Mr. Rising already knows about a bunch of it, because some of it was just discussing transportation funding, for example, and the mandated categoricals and the things I'm still learning about as I'm more of a financial newbie here. But I felt like it was productive time. It's always nice to be able to connect a little bit with our county people and see where everyone is.
And I will kind of dovetail onto that, because I think since the last board meeting, I sat in on my first panel review for the evidence-based funding at the state level, that committee that I got appointed to with the State Board of Education. The categoricals did come up, and the importance of that districts across the state feel that's extremely important. So that was raised, and I'm getting the notes from that, and I'm passing those along to Mr. Shipley as I kind of move forward for that. The meetings for those are only once a quarter. But a lot of stuff happened and a lot of things were discussed. I also had the group for IASB with ISB, that there's a handful of board members that it was the mental health assessment was discussed, and I've got some notes from that I'll share with the board probably by early next week, just because I'm leaving for a conference this week. So I'll make sure to get the board my notes on that I took.
I did have one more thing I wanted to share that I just remembered as you were saying that. Representative Yang Rohr did have a request for us, which was to bring back to our communities that if students want to see change, that oftentimes right now they go straight to the representative, and that perhaps some of those changes could be made more effectively and more immediately at a local level, whether it's the school board or the city council, rather than passing a bill for the entirety of the state, but encouraging our students to act locally first.
That's good information. And maybe our student advisory board too should hear about that as something maybe they can take up to help advertise, how to act on some of the needs that students see. So, but thank you all for participating in those. People often don't recognize that besides our regular board meetings, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and a lot of meetings that we attend or participate in groups to help advocate for our district and our needs. So thank you both for the reports tonight. So with that, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Yep.
Aye. Thanks.